popular in social media. She really has the democratic touch. And she spent more time in space than anyone else. She was in the International Space Station for months and months, came back, had a child. Like, what is Captain Cristoforetti doing right now? Well, she's raising the little Cristoforetti. I think that's a very good idea. No? I mean, real futurists have children. I'm all in favor of Captain Cristoforetti doing that. I think that's the proper attitude one should have toward outer space. It is part of our lives, and we should accept it. And instead of marveling at it and being amazed by it all the time, we really need to integrate it into our lives and think, okay, even if I go to space, I'll come back. My house will be here, my husband will be here, I'll have a child, I'll have things to do. My life will go on, and space will have been part of it. So here I am in my new Turinese office, which is the Vigna de Madama Reale, sometimes known as the Villa Abe. So Yasmina and I, my wife, are in residency in this 375-year-old Turinese building. Thanks to the good graces of the Company of St. Paul, or the Campagna di San Paolo. So this is a Campagna di San Paolo building, which the company manages. They're 500 years old, and the building's 375 years old, and I'm not as old as that, but I'm in this building. And I'm trying to write some science fiction in there. Right? I mean, I actually have an office up in the attic. I'm on the top floor. Here I am in my office of this Turinese building. And, it dates back to the time of Manzoni's Promessi Sposi. So I'm in there and I'm reading Manzoni's Promessi Sposi in my ancient attic. And I'm trying hard to sort of, think about the future and think about it from really an Italian perspective. And I'm learning valuable lessons from being in this very old building. So you can see from this picture that I've got a fax machine, which is rather old, and I've got a landline telephone with a wire, which is rather old. And I've got some printed books, and most of those books are about history from 300 or 400 years ago. And above my head, you can't see it, are some big electrical cables that carry the electrical power into my building, because of course my building is much older than electrical power. And I also have some cables that bring my wireless internet into my attic. And the cable actually goes out the wall of the palace and literally just drops to the floor on the outside of the building. So I'm in there, and I'm looking at these many technical revolutions that have happened in the lifetime of this building. Just a lot. Like running water. Right? It didn't have plumbing when it was built. It has an elevator, which didn't exist. That's like a motor. It has electrical cables. They didn't exist. Now they're there. They're just kind of clamped onto the wall. It has the fax machine, which existed, was popular for a while. It's now old-fashioned. It has the landline telephone, which is being gone. It's going to be replaced by 5G, presumably. And it makes me aware that our digital day is one day in these hundreds of years. Because it is. So I'm trying to outthink this. It's like, what is the nature of this problem? Can I solve this? I mean, can I design a way to integrate the future into this building? Because I'm writing science fiction in there. I mean, I'm really trying to do it. What is the nature of the problem? Is it an engineering problem? Is it something I can fix with an invented gadget? Or is it part of the human condition? If it is, it's a very Italian part of the human condition. What will remain of our digital day after 375 years, is a cultural sensibility. And I think it's something Italians need to think about at this historical point, because digital technology is getting old, and technologies that are old actually play into your hands. I think Italians, well, they're very famous, of course, for food, fashion, and furniture. Food, fashion, and furniture, it's the cliche of Italian cultural activism. But what Italians are really good at is integrating the past and the future in a graceful and attractive way. And I see this as a design problem, but it's also a literary problem. Now, it's something I have to say to people. I have to make a case for this, right? We're kind of different and more historically informed Fantascienza, right? I have to stretch my imagination farther than I did before. And so do the rest of us. I think this is what lies ahead for the digital revolution as it's become a digital establishment. It's just got to do a better job of making itself part of life.